Already. Hey,
Hey, how are you doing?
good. How you doing?
Good.
Good. So let's have a chat about Innisfil, but let's have a little discussion first about the market in a sense, right? There's all kinds of information out there. We're seeing it, we're seeing the real stuff because we're agents and we can see the numbers. But it's just as we have progressed the last couple of weeks, I guess week 3 of going into November, we're consistently seeing sales come down and down, which alerts us to go see what the same weeks were doing last year, and it's the same thing,
Yes.
right? No, which is a good, which is fine. I'd be a little more alarmed if it was a bigger number, and I'm not that alarmed. But it's just, to the audience out there and the viewers, it's just not a good time to sell your house right now. Bottom line, right? It's just
Yeah.
traffic needs to get less and less and less. And I'm kind of even, and again, the weather was pretty good last year around this time. Remember some warm days in November, but that's going to change. We get another week of this weather at the best, and then I think it starts to change next week. So that's what I'm seeing quite consistently. I'm seeing more in Innisfil. There's only Before I dive into numbers, let's talk about the sales for a sec. There was only 4 sales last week. Okay, there was 9 the same week in 2022.
Wow.
Might as well talk about these. So I want to talk about 2 properties. The other 2 I didn't really look into too much. I was more concerned about these 2. So for sales, Innisfil, one was on 50 King Street in Cookstown.
I saw that one.
Okay, my tag,
Tenanted property
yeah, tenant
or
property.
needed a lot of work. It was a rental property and needed a lot of work.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't even go to much depth as that. I just kind of went, oh, 112 days. Oh, let's pull the history on it. No, it was never, relisted again. They started at 770 and then up selling for 625, 112 days in the market. So how would you help that seller? And I think being 112 days on the market, what could we say to that seller tonight and saying what would be done differently next time? Let me go first because juices are flying here.
Okay, go ahead.
It's really important to price it properly the first time, because that seller for 112 days, they had a lot of frustrating days, right?
Yeah.
Why selling, showing the inconvenience of his tenanted property? They're bitching at me because there's so many showings, et cetera, et cetera. Why didn't you price it right the first time for the market? And we're seeing a lot of that in that community. I'm seeing a ton of it there.
Yeah, I know.
It's just sitting on the market, sitting on the market, sitting on the market, which I just don't understand. Is people today need to price it for today's market, not tomorrow's or 2025 or 24. It has to be right now what's going on. And if you're not kind of happy with what's going on, don't list right now. It's plain and simple.
Well,
You should.
yeah, and you know what I noticed too is there was a little bit of an uptake in May and June, right? And what I seen in Innisfil especially, I don't see the reaction to the fact that it's slowed down a lot. The prices have gone down a little bit since May and June. Like I was working with buyers in May and June, what they were getting for houses then and what they're getting for now, it's lower for sure.
Yeah, it's a lower and more supply too. We've seen a lot more product come on the market as well. And I got some phenomenal comments from viewers this week from talking about certain videos, and really intelligent comments about why what we're seeing too, and some on bond yields, some talking about supply, and all that's right. We have a lot more supply than we did back then, and the uncertainty is creeping in as well, right? And
Well, you put in the uncertainty, you put in the time of year,
100%.
you put in the negative stuff coming out on in the media,
Mhm.
add them all together, and you have buyers that are not interested in buying right now. And if you are in a position where you don't have to sell, really, it's not the time to list it. It's just,
All right.
it's not.
It's not right now. And looking into 2 months later, let's go 3 February, we usually have a good idea what's going on in the market at that time, right? Of course, all these listings that are sitting there, they're going to be canceled or terminated within the next 5 weeks. It's coming. Let's
Yeah.
just sit down. Let's just get through the holiday season.
Yeah, but you know what you're gonna have, Mark?
What's
You're
that?
gonna have in January, February, you're gonna have like 40, 50 a day coming back up. Because
Right.
now they're all gonna start coming back up. Boom, boom, boom. And everybody's gonna be like, oh my God, look at all the new listings.
100%. And maybe that's not the right thing to do right away. I'd slow it down. I'd wait and see a couple weeks coming into it and seeing what's going on. Mid-January, we're going to start things kind of go back to normal. Holidays are done, etc. Kids are back in school. We'll see some normalcy come back in, but it's going to be interesting to see. And it's also what the media is going to, string up in a sense the next couple months of what's going on. And, there's a lot of chat
Yeah.
about renewals.
And I find that the media really affects buyers the most.
100%, because they're mainly the newer, younger buyers. As I told you before at open house, it was all young buyers coming through. They're not ready to pull the pin. They're just looking. We're just seeing what this community looks at. What we're mainly going into next year. We want to see. They want to see what the Bank of Canada is going to do over the next 4 or 5 months before decisions come into play. Right. Let's keep going through some numbers. Another property before we get into real dig deep. Another one you probably noticed, 2157 Mildred, sold. Congratulations to that seller. It was listed at $899 and it sold for $950. Big congratulations. But here's the big part, but it's on the market 120 days. All kinds of different pricing strategies. Right?
Didn't it start at close to $1 million or something?
I should have wrote down and I didn't. It was well over $1 million.
Well over $1 million. Yeah, I saw that.
1.1 and change. Like, it was a nice property, but it wasn't a 1.1 million and change.
Yeah.
That's what the market gave them right there, 950. That's what it's worth today. Anybody taking offers today, and there's not many getting them right now, which is normal. That's what the market's willing to pay right now for that property. They may be willing to pay more for it in 2 or 3 months, or they may be willing to pay less for that property. We don't have that information. We just don't.
I mean, that's the other thing, is that people are saying, well, okay, so I don't list now because it's a shitty time, so I'll get more money in the spring, right? No, I don't know.
We don't know. We don't.
We don't know.
We don't know. But traffic comes back, buyers revisit, and I really believe if the Bank of Canada, what I will be looking for is seeing what the GDP print comes in after the fourth quarter. We won't get that till January. I want to see what that brings. And if we see another decline, which I think we will, TIF isn't raising. But then we got to think, oh, well, the bond yields. And then maybe if the US is raising because their GDP was 4.9%, maybe we have to raise to keep the currency. So there's so many revolving pieces in all this puzzle right now. It's kind of hard to navigate. And I really think the average home seller and buyer, are having a hard time making decisions in this tough environment we're in today.
Well, and I think everybody's worried about making a mistake.
100% or 100%. It's tough, but for that buyer that's say, buying for the first time, you're not selling in a year. You're not selling in 2 years, probably. You're going to be there for 5 minimum, maybe more. You're going to build up some equity. This market's not going to go crazy next year. If we see a rate decrease, which we could see in the second quarter, possibly, then yeah, we may see some frenzies happen. We typically, when rates go down, real estate, those assets go up. So we could see a little bit of a spike. But, I think we have to clear out some of this inventory first before we see that, because there's a ton of product on the market. So I think, last week there was 318 listings. Well, of course, there's 311 right now. I might have missed, I think there's a couple of things. So 311, no, we're not seeing more consistent. 37, it says new listings is on the updates, but we know where that is. That's a relist, cancel relist, put it back up, etc. 13 price changes and 6 conditionally sold. So we'll probably see those 6 this week firm up. I didn't look at the dates, we probably will. Here's where the inventory is. 500 to 599.3. But we know they don't have a lot of low inventory prices down there. They're kind of heavy in the higher ranges.
Yeah.
Right? Where Barrie, that number was 100, from 5 to 6, it was 101 Barrie. What a difference.
Yeah, yeah.
6 to 699, 18, 7 to 799, 33, 8 to 899, 27, and 9 to 999, 33. And then a million and over, 162 listed, which counts for 47%. Let's just call it half. It's 47, but half of the inventory. And I looked briefly at them last, a couple days ago, and they're just doing the same old thing. There's a million of them out there in a sense. They're not selling.
That's horrifying.
Horrifying, right? That higher price point in Innisfil, and we know we've had these discussions where it's top heavy with high price product, and that's where the market isn't today right now.
Yeah.
It will be rates come down, but
well, people just can't even afford the mortgage payments with those kind of numbers.
not even close. Not even close.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Like in a declining market, when interest rates are high, the higher priced houses and the bigger mortgages, they're not going, it's not happening.
Happening, it's the smaller stuff. So, let me see. I'll double check. Sorry. So, yeah, I think I covered the 9 for 2022. So, it's down by 50%. But, we progress next week that we may have 3 listings, or, what I'm saying? We don't know, but
yeah,
firmed up. But those are the numbers. The same thing in Innisfil. One thing about Innisfil, it doesn't change much.
No, the videos aren't as long because we don't have much to talk about.
Same thing. If you want the same thing all the time, keep doing what you're doing down in Innisfil, because it's clearly not working.
Well, that isn't that the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Yeah.
Right. So again, heavy out of town agents. Right?
Yeah.
Out of town agents aren't looking at numbers like we're looking at. I'm sorry, they're not doing that. Or they'd be having the typical difficult conversations with.
Well, you know what? And maybe I'm not going to say that none of them are, but the problem is that not enough of them are anyway.
Oh, plenty.
Like you might have the odd one having the discussion, but then you have the seller sees everybody else's prices and they're, well, we're not dropping.
Stop looking at that, sellers. That doesn't work. Don't. That's just not the right thing to do. That just tells me that you're not a serious seller, that you're just gonna, well, I got my number and I hope I get this. They're probably getting no showings on those properties at all.
Well,
you probably won't be getting showings on that if you're just searching for, well, if I got my number. That market's gone. It's not coming back right now.
Well, you know what the other thing is, if you really do have to sell, bite the bullet and get it over with, because you're going to get there anyway.
100%. To our point. Okay, let's go back to that. 112 days in the market. Started at 770. They got 625. That's a lot of selling time. It's a lot of frustration. It's a lot of pain. Another 120 days on Mildred. Oh, and that's a nice house, owner occupied. 2 price changes, different strategies. Got what the market gives you right there. It wasn't giving, and if they would have had that at the right price in, say, April, May, possible June, they probably would have sold. They probably got 975, maybe 980.
Yeah, I know.
Right now they sell, so they just had lost a lot of valuable selling time and gave a few dollars away.
Well, this is it, because then I've had listings with the same issue where I'm trying to tell them, like, we need to go lower. Everybody else is still maintaining that higher price and they're not getting it. No. So let's just bite the bullet, cut it and get it gone. Like, if you have to sell, right, you end up in the same situation anyway, but you go through 6 months of hell. Absolutely. In frustration.
And then we come and we see it. Or what I always like the best is, well, thanks very much. We got a park company, we didn't sell. And then they go with someone else and then they get the right price that we've communicated, as we've discussed. Oh, we see the board sold. Why don't you listen to me? That's why it's so important to be transparent. If I show people the data and show the listings and the current and talking about them like we're discussions that we have, then there's no reason why a good informed decision can't be made.
My nephew did that to me years ago.
Really?
I told him, you need to go down 100 grand, blah, blah, blah. Listing expired. I'm calling him and saying, okay, the listing's expired in a week, we need to extend. He ghosts me, comes up 2 days after the listing expired with another agent, 100 grand less.
That's it.
And
After you
it's sold.
did, right, after you did all the heavy lifting. Okay, I think we're done, Innisfil. You know what, folks, give us a like, give us a share, leave a comment, subscribe. We spend a lot of time doing this content and we enjoy communicating, and kind of gets us kind of excited when we see that our subscribers go up. I know the viewing times are going up and I'm ecstatic by it. So thanks for
Yeah,
that.
it's a lot. I'm getting a lot of good feedback too.
And 1.2% of listings are selling in Innisfil. Happy November. All right. See
Talk
you.
to you later.